Hello there. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Mahesh, and today in the 21st century, the world has become a global village. Globalization is forces where consumer behaviors have changed and they have influenced not only the production of food, its distribution, marketing, and trade. This has resulted in the emergence of epidemic diseases ranging from Ebola virus, the Nipah virus, the recent outbreak of SARS, and the influenza H1N1 viruses as well. On one end of the spectrum, while we have the emergence of such global diseases epidemically, we have also a current trend whereby chronic non-communicable diseases, or what we call them as degenerative diseases, are in an increasing trend. We have found, researchers have shown time and again, that chronic communicable diseases are diseases of a long duration and of a slow progression. The question that comes to one's mind, why is this alarming rate of chronic communicable diseases? Recently, the World Health Organization, the Director General Margaret Chan, has said the world has to stand up to this challenge of the alarming number of deaths and the increasing medical cost in treating these patients, which has to be viewed very seriously. Having said that, NCD, as I said earlier, chronic communicable diseases, take a toll of 38 million deaths out of the total 57 million deaths globally in the year 2008, which means literally 38 million people have died to this scourge of non-communicable diseases, which are chronic in nature. I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen, diseases such as of that heart, diabetes, cancer, and certain liver diseases, along with arthritis, has caused a big drain in the economy of developing countries to the tune of 1 to 5% per annum. When you look like countries in Southeast Asia, including Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, Thailand, and South Asian countries, which are the two emerging superpowers of the world, namely India and China, the low and middle income group are the ones facing this challenge, which is taking a major part of their income. Therefore, measures have to be taken to improve their health condition by education programs and to reduce the poverty lines. The cost of long-term and ambulatory care can push an already impoverished household below the poverty line. Next, regrettably in these countries, we find that it affects more of the younger age groups. Today, more than ever, our children, teenagers, and young adults are falling prey to these diseases because of the Western way of living. The world population stands at more than 6 billion, and we find that 60% of all deaths is represented by chronic non-communicable diseases. In today's fast-paced, multi-plural lifestyle, man's ongoing search for instant gratification, more than ever, forgetting his place in the cosmic universe, he is breaking the connectivity between his mind, body, and soul relationship. Man's failure to harmonize inner self with nature is making the human body pay the heavy price of poor health and the early onset of disease. What we realize that the outer material world is nothing but a reflection of one's inner world. From fast food to processed food, we find the quality of food is affecting the quality of human life and also the longevity of it. We are eating but slowly dying. Why is this so? Because doctors have failed to educate their patients, partly due to their ignorance and the influence from the pharmaceutical industry. Dr. Clayton, Paul Clayton to be more precise, has said that doctors are taught very little on the subject of nutrition in medical schools. Consequently, this knowledge, the lack of it, is not being put across to patients. And what happens as a result? Patients are forced to look to a quick means of fulfilling their health needs. And the only choice they get is multivitamins, nutrition supplements from the pharmacies or over-the-counter products. Surprisingly so, besides this lack of good quality nutritional balanced diet, lack of nocturnal sleep, insufficient physical activity, the stress of modern lifestyle, and more importantly, the crisis that we all face, the threat to the very existence of mankind is pollution. Pollution is very form, be it air, water, sea, even radiation, has affected our lives. Who do we blame? It's a very debatable topic, but let's just look at it very properly. What can the healthcare provider today, in the context of medical profession, give the best advice, information to our patients? We have seen from 1970s Nobel Prize laureate Dr. Linus Pauling, who advocated the use of vitamin C from common cold to cancer, was jeered at, not realizing that he was telling a very important truth, that our bodies, besides the food that we eat, we need supplements. So came the advent of vitamin supplements from large companies, and also we know from another important doctor, Kaufman, from Minnesota, USA, who is saying that the regulatory body in the US, the US Federal Drug Authority, has very clearly in the past recommended a system called the RDA, that is the recommended daily allowance for a vitamin to be consumed by an individual. Today that particular system has been eroded because of the influence from the pharmaceutical industries to pushing their products on a large scale to the market and the human consumer, whereby at one time the US FDA wanted to actually change the system to illogical system, totally different from the existing one called as the RDI. Now, if that was to be implemented, it could have had a devastating effect on the nutritional standards of medicine. Luckily and fortunately, that was aborted. Now, what I would like to say as a medical doctor who has practiced for more than 27 years, if any herbal supplement or nutritional supplements to be taken by an individual, there's a certain criteria we should look at to make sure that what we are taking is not only cost effective but also safe and healthy to our body. In that regard, the market is flooded, I should say, with a lot of supplements. The average man on the street is confused with the numerous products out there in the market. So as healthcare providers, giving total solutions to the need of an individual's health should take it as our responsibility collectively to make sure that not only we give them the right type of medication for their chronic diseases ranging from hypertension to diabetes to stroke patients, to patients with liver diseases, to cancer, to chronic respiratory diseases ranging from asthma to emphysema and to pulmonary diseases as called pulmonary, should be also given a very important supplement in their diet. As we know, our diet is lacking a lot of nutrients. What then to say of our children and of our elders in the society? As the baby boomers are going into their 55 years now, who are now dependent on government health care for their ambulatory, for their dental needs, for their medical needs, we have to be very clear in our understanding that we have to give them the right advice and sound information. As rightly said by another doctor who is not only a member of the Royal Society of Medicine in the United Kingdom, but also the scientific advisor to the government of UK, thoroughly saying the importance of supplements. Now, anybody knows for a fact that when one takes a nutritional supplement, it is only done so because to bring out the body's natural mechanism to enhance itself in the healing process of a disease. Rightly said, a drug is a synthetic product. On the other hand, we have herbal complements which are naturally occurring substances. So the question here is for a medical doctor like me, who want to provide the best for his patients, to reduce the overall cost in healthcare, at the same time to maintain a quality way of life, is to make sure that the product at hand will definitely help him not to impede his progress. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a book here. It's written by Dr. Ray Strand. The very article says death by prescription. This book very clearly and brilliantly illustrates how in the US, which is a major consumer of prescription medicine, there is a very sad and tragic tale behind this curtain. The fact is, adverse drug reactions, meaning reactions to synthetic products produced by pharmaceutical companies, is causing an alarming number of people to be hospitalized again for a simple fact: they are not being taught by the doctor and have not been informed the proper labeling on the adverse effects of drugs. In the recent publication in the Lancet magazine, in the year 1996 to be precise, 200 patients were hospitalized and they died as a result of the drug adverse reactions. Now, we also know at the same time there have been life-threatening drugs situations have saved these patients by taking such type of medications. Many people have improved by the regulatory control of the FDA. I'm not against the FDA. I do agree that the present system is the best. But how do we overcome the challenges whereby, because of certain defects, loopholes in the system, we have seen patients dying? I can give numerous examples in my 27 years experience where a patient, a young lady in her late 50s, just had attained menopause. Now, we all know in women a menopause is the phase of her life where she has reduced female hormones and she has certain concern about her body, a quality of life, and she wants to have a good relationship sexually, physically, morally, and socially with people in the society. So she was referred by a doctor, her personal physician, to take HRT, meaning hormone replacement therapy. And though the doctor explained to her the risk and effects of taking HRT on long term, that it can cause cancer, the more risk of getting thrombophlebitis or deep vein thrombosis, or getting a heart attack, yet the doctor told her to take long term of this particular HRT therapy. The patient was fine the first few weeks. She felt better, the hot flushes, the mood depression, appetite, the sexual urges was getting back to normal. Suddenly one fine morning, after sending her husband to work, when she went over cleaning and doing vacuuming, she felt a tug in the chest and she collapsed. By the time she reached to 911 to call the ambulance, she was not able to speak. When the ambulance reached there, they tried their best, the resuscitator, they took her to the hospital, but sad to say, she died. It was a tragic blow to the husband and the family. All along here was a pretty lady in the prime of her life and was enjoying a wonderful lifestyle, and with a doctor's prescription, she collapsed and died. Autopsy was done, post-mortem revealed everything was normal. But what happened was that she developed a thrombosis because of the human hormone replacement therapy, and that caused a massive heart attack. So there are numerous examples out there. On the other hand, we have natural occurring substances which help patients in improving their diseases, and they are able to come back to normal lifestyle, continue with their work. Such type of natural occurring substances, of course, is of serious concern to us, because is it effective? Is it safe? Does it have quality control? And more importantly, how the side effects of the drug. Now, as a medical doctor, I would like to be very certain in what type of herbal supplements I recommend and give to my patients. When you talk about the side effects, many of the natural occurring substances are those which are found in the plants, what we call them phytonutrients, and these substances also contain medicinal value, be it from the Indian civilization where Ayurveda was born, the Chinese civilization where they have the traditional Chinese medicine, the Babylonian or the Persian civilization where the Unani medicine, and an expansion or a modification of English medicine or allopathic medicine is homeopathy, which originated in Germany. All these medicines, including natural medicine, has its primary source from the plant kingdom. But then again, as I said earlier, we have to look into the side effects of those particular products. The best way to know whether a herbal supplement which contains plant ingredient does not have any toxic effects is to have it examined, standardized by the Federal Drug Authority, which is obviously the watchdog in US. In the Europe Economic Union, recently in April 7, 2011, there was a law passed by the European Union which stated that all products coming into the European Union have to be examined and checked, and that particular thing what we call is the efficacy of the drug, which means products, herbal products, especially of Ayurveda or traditional medicine, have a difficult time entering into the European market. Secondly, what about those products from the Amazonian and the South African countries? We know that there are good products out there, but like I said, how do we check into the quality control, the efficacy of the herbal product? One way is to do so is what we call clinical trials. The other way is to make sure that the doctor is well informed about the interactions between the herbal supplement and also on the English medicine or the drug itself. Now, in that context, I would like to remind you all of one particular herb called St. John's wort. St. John's wort, as we know, is a herbal preparation. It's commonly available in both the West and as well as in Australasia. Now, as regards its efficacy, it was shown that St. John's wort is used to treat clinical depression. Patients of depression are given St. John's wort, but what we do not know is that the potency, even if 1/10 of it is given wrongly to a patient who has suicidal tendencies, can actually kill him. Another similar example is ephedra. We know what happened and the consequence of the ban by FDA on ephedra in the United States. Having said that, I feel that it's very important, whatever herbal supplements is being given to our patients, we have to understand that if we follow a particular pattern, that is, this herbal supplement first and foremost should fulfill the 4 criteria. We should look into double blind, placebo, randomized clinical trials. Now, I recently come across such a company, a model TCM manufacturer by the name of Tasly in China, who today is a world leader, a pioneer in the modernization of traditional Chinese medicine and making it international across the globe. Why do I say about Tasly? Ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, I do not have any shares in the company, nor do I have any personal interest in that particular herbal product. But as a healthcare provider, and as I've taken sincerely the Hippocrates oath, which says, let food be a medicine and medicine a food. And secondly, physician, heal thyself. Having believed strongly in the concept of Hippocrates oath, I believe Tasly is making a change, radically transforming the concept that herbal medicines out there can also help to reduce certain chronic non-communicable diseases and help improve the quality of one's life. Please bear in mind, I also advocate the use of English medicine, prescription medicine, for the treatment of acute infectious diseases, trauma, emergency. To give you an example, if I have a patient who is brought into the casualty having a massive accident, hit and run, motor vehicle accident, and he's fractured his bone, he's bleeding, he's got his spleen ruptured, the first thing I'll put him into OT, treat, remove the spleen, fix the bones, and then I would definitely advocate the usage of herbal medicine such as acupuncture and our products of herbal supplementation. Why? Because medicine is all about integration of orthodox medicine and alternative medicine. We know that in Australia, in the US, in UK, many herbal medicines and alternate systems are being reimbursed by insurance companies and by the government through Medicare, Medicard. As I was saying earlier about Tasly, this is one company which has gone into and taken the first step to become the first Chinese medicine, proprietary traditional Chinese medicine, to be approved by the FDA to get its investigative new drug trials done. As early as 2007, the second clinical trial was conducted in the US across, I believe, 125 patients, volunteer patients, were studied across 15 centers in the US, and it showed that through this double-blind, randomized, placebo clinical trial, these patients were divided into 3 groups, and the clinical trials was outstanding, simply showing that the products of Tasly have not only world standards but also accepted by the FDA for its 3rd phase of clinical trial. Having said that, what is Tasly? Tasly is a manufacturing company in China. It ranks in the top 3 among 6,000 manufacturers of traditional Chinese medicine. Also, It has more than 1,114 patents worldwide of its more than 300 products. Primarily, they are used in 10,000 hospitals in mainland China. They have been sold in pharmacies, in health food stores, and consumed by more than 200,000 consumers in China. And more importantly, they are using the international standards of the 6 Gs. 1, the good agricultural practice. 2, the good extraction practice. 3, the good manufacturing practice. 4, the good laboratory practice. 5, the good clinical practice. And lastly, 6, the good supply practice. Very few companies out there in the world today, being manufacturers, observe the 6 Gs. Yes, we have companies which follow 3 or 4, but never where all the 6 Gs are simultaneously from the process of harvesting to the supply chain is being done by one company alone. Now that is an amazing and unique feature found in Tasly. Last but not the least, Tasly today wants to make sure that by changing the pattern of consuming unnecessary modern prescription medicines, the usage and overuse of antibiotics in the treatment of chronic infections can be drastically reduced, and the overall cost in the care of the patient will be financially and soundly maintained. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say one thing. As doctors, we must first know the law is don't do any harm. Secondly, I think we should come together and understand that we should work in combining the age-old wisdom of traditional medicine from these different civilizations who have come now to modernize it and internationalize it along with our present day medicine. In that way, the world will be a better place to live in, the quality of life can be improved, and the longevity of human beings will also increase. Thank you.